May the 5th be with you, just doesn't have the same ring to it. What up, viewers? What up? What up? Calc Soups here, and today is Friday, May 5th. Happy Cinco de Mayo, and that means it's time for a quick recap of the week in video game news. Jumping right into it, we started off this week with a somewhat of a letdown. The latest Borderlands at home, the latest Bethesda game coming from Arcane Studios, Redfall, which has been described as Borderlands with vampires, is currently sitting at a 59 Metacritic. I think with all of the issues associated with it, I'm surprised it got that high of a rating. And yeah, it's on Game Pass. It's had a lot of, at least from what I've seen of gameplay, it's had a lot of like AI issues where the bosses and monsters are just standing around not doing anything, which doesn't make for very compelling gameplay. There's also been performance issues. So, and then even after all that, I think some people are just kind of fading out that it feels boring and uninteresting. So hopefully they can get the shoe on the right foot. I've seen posts already about like Phil Spencer reaching out saying he's going to continue to work on it. It's going to be continue to be developed. I think this was always kind of an iffy situation, considering it seemed like it was kind of rushed out the door and half baked. Or as one article called it, half staked, which I thought was funny. Yeah, I'm sorry to see it be this way. It frees up a little bit of my time to play Jedi Survivor before Breath of the Wild 2 comes out, so I'm excited for that. But I was really looking forward to playing a multiplayer, co-op shooter with my friends. So hopefully I can get that up and running and working, and I can shoot some vampires with friends sometime soon. But moving right along, we got an announcement this week. For those of you who don't know, I am a massive fan of Dontnod. In fact, the Life is Strange series is probably what inspired me to get into streaming, so I'm glad to talk about them any chance I get. And the latest game that they announced a game this week called Harmony. Harmony is about you're kind of a psychic or something, and you have access to like the full history of humanity, and you have to work with these like divine guides to try and steer humanity one direction or the other. It was a really very heady concept, but very cerebral and looked pretty interesting. I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing what kind of experiences you can actually get. A lot of what I saw in the trailer was just kind of this top-down view of like decision trees, which isn't really interesting, but really kind of living in your decisions. I'm curious how they make that come to life. So kind of looking forward to that. But I will always give Dontnod a chance. So looking forward to playing their next game. I don't think there was a date announced to it or attached to it, so it could be a while, but looking forward to it. I love Dontnod. We are now with 30 years, celebrating 30 years of Mortal Kombat. I thought it was 94. I always keep track of it in my head as like, maybe it was 92. I always keep track of it in my head as like, hey, Street Fighter came out like 2 or 3 years before Mortal Kombat, and I think Mortal Kombat like 94, and then Street Fighter was 92. Maybe Street Fighter was in the late 80s. I don't remember. Correct me down in the comments. But Mortal Kombat is celebrating 30 years and starting to tease after a long 3-minute video about all the different people that have worked on the games and how much they're thankful for the community that has kept such a relevant IP alive for the past 30 years, which is an impressive feat. They also started teasing a little bit of Mortal Kombat 12. We knew it was coming because it was leaked in a earnings call. But Mortal Kombat could be coming sooner than we think. I'm looking forward to potentially seeing some more Mortal Kombat 12 stuff in the coming weeks. So and as someone who has worked on the Mortal Kombat series, I am excited to be celebrating 30 years of it. Moving right along, E3, or whatever we're calling the E3 timeframe, early June timeframe this year, we have a little bit of a schedule for it. So far, we know that Summer Games Fest is starting, Jeff Keighley's summer gaming event is starting June 8th. And then Xbox and Bethesda will be announced this week that they'll be June 11th. And then Ubisoft's first forward in like a year, I think, will be on June 12th. So we have a little bit, I think there was a PC gaming event sometime in the middle of that time frame. So we have kind of the week blocked out. I'm curious if like Netflix will get in there or what other big companies will kind of get in there. Apple and jump on that bandwagon. But yeah, I'm looking forward to whatever. I'm curious what E3 or what stands in for E3 will look like this year, with such few contenders to be jumping in on that. As I said in the cold open, this week was Star Wars week. I talked a little bit about, I think, sales starting early last week, but May the 4th be with you was this week. And speaking of Star Wars, I saw a couple articles this week talking about there's a lot of Star Wars in development. I knew about the one coming from Ubisoft. I think they've been talking about that for a year or two now. I know that the Knights of the Old Republic remake has been worked on for a while. I know that the previous developer, Asper, has since gone under, so I'm curious who the developer is going to be on that. But there's also one that I had to remind myself of, the Quantic Dream one, which is going to be, that's the same company who did Detroit Become Human, and they are doing they're doing like a narrative Star Wars, which I think is interesting and compelling, and I don't necessarily have to wield lightsabers to enjoy that world. Also, Respawn is working on one, which, considering they just considering what they've done in the past, I'm very curious what they're going to be doing with Star Wars. I know that the article also said like Amy Hennig is getting a second bite of the apple, so there's going to be one around there. There's also a Paradox that's going to be, I would assume, a turn-based strategy game related to Star Wars. So yeah, it was kind of cool to refresh myself on all the different Star Wars games that are coming out and what's being worked on. I think it's going to be a while before we see any of these. Hopefully the Knights of the Old Republic remake gets picked up and the ball gets carried across the finish line, because I'm very excited for that. I haven't played those games in gosh, more than a decade, 15 years or so, so very much looking forward to those. Moving right along, there were several GOG sales that caught my eye this week, as it was kind of a pretty slow week other than Redfall not doing well and a couple game announcements. It was a pretty slow week, so if you're looking for games to pick up before you pick up Breath of the Wild, or you don't have a Switch, there was a publisher sale on GOG for Larian Studios, the company that has made Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2, both of which I think were Game Awards winners, not necessarily Game of the Year, but Game Awards winners. Baldur's Gate 3 is coming out later this year, and I think is currently for sale on their publisher sale, because you can play the early access version of it. So if you're looking to jump into that a little early, you can pick that up on GOG. And then another company that I like to keep my eye on and makes a lot of games that I'm very interested in is Focus Entertainment. They are the developers and publishers of Plague's Tales, and I've played both 1 and 2, and can highly recommend those. They also made Vampire, which was one of my favorite games of, I want to say 2020 was when it came out. So definitely two companies that could use or deserve your money, and if you're looking for something to play, definitely check those out. I'll have links down below in the description. The Humble Monthly Sale, every month there's a new monthly sale at the Humble Bundle, their subscription service, and there's two games that I can recommend on there. There's Chaos Gate Demon Hunters for those 40K fans, of which I am one of, and then there's also Spiritfarer, which if you haven't played it yet, you definitely should play it, and if you want to get it, no better way to get it than in a charity bundle monthly subscription service. So yeah, check out Spiritfarer on the Humble Monthly for this month. Check it out down below. A few more announcements that I was excited about for this week. One of my favorite worlds to exist in is the Pathfinder world of Galarian. Deep cut for those nerds out there, but the tabletop role-playing setting has been available to be explored in both Pathfinder Kingmaker as well as Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. And now BCOM, the developer, is bringing a Pathfinder isometric RPG, aka a Diablo clone, top-down isometric, action RPG, and that's coming to Kickstarter sometime soon. So that was announced this week, but I don't think the Kickstarter starts until June. So I'll have to wait for that, but I will definitely be back in that and excited to see what comes out from that. And last but certainly not least, Something probably pretty. I don't know that a lot of people will be interested in this, but a Lego tabletop game was kind of announced. That's like like Warhammer, a tabletop strategy war sim kind of game with Legos called Brick Wars. Again, I think this was coming to um, a Kickstarter, or it's not out yet. Not the book isn't available to be purchased yet, so I think it is coming to some kind of crowdfunding website. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm very curious, kind of what that looks like, and as someone who has assembled and painted lots of models in their time, I think putting Legos on a board could be very time efficient, and you're not really as invested in the look of your army, depending on which pieces you get. Anyway, I digress. But I am very much looking forward to a tabletop version of Legos and seeing what that looks like. So I'll have links down below for you, so you can check that out yourself. Last but not least, I do want to mention that the Dune trailer for Dune Part 2 came out this week, and I have watched the trailer like 10 times. Very excited. So anybody who wants to talk Dune with me, feel free to do so in the Discord or in the comments down below. Very excited for that as well. But as always, that's it for the week. If you feel I forgot anything, leave a comment down below talking about it. And as always, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this content. If you do, please follow, like, and subscribe to me on YouTube and Twitch so you can see more great content like this. I'll have links down below in the description. Thanks again. I hope you have a super day. I hope you have a super weekend. And I hope you have a super day. Bye!